Okay, awesome. Okay, guys, so if you raise your hand, that means you need to keep stepping up, okay? Even harder. Because what happens is when you get in that mind frame, and we all know we all know how that feels. When you have a success, you're kind of unstoppable, and that's when you want to keep pressing it. Okay, so the first nugget is to never quit, and that came from my story. The second nugget for tonight is to embrace this 90-day run and to keep going through the numbers until you have a victory or 2 or 3, and when you do, that's when you hit the pedal faster. Now we're going to talk tonight, or harder. We're going to talk tonight about how to prospect and how to recruit and all these things. But the reality is, whatever is in between your ears, all right, which is about 5.5 inches. If you can control that 5.5 inches in between your ears, which this 90-day run helps to do because it gets you on momentum, right? And it'll get you excited about having a victory, and that's when you're unstoppable. That's all just kind of manipulating what's going on between your ears. You guys, are you picking up what I'm putting down? It is very difficult to recruit into, when you're low. That's why you got to keep going, break that ice, get that success, and keep going forward. But the reality is it's all in between the ears. And I challenge, we're not going to do this tonight. Oh, what the heck, let's do it tonight. A dollar bill is about 5.5 inches. Every one, okay? No matter if it's a $100 bill, a $1 bill, whatever it is, about 5.5 inches. So Chad, I'm going to use you because you've been the star of the show tonight. So put this up to your face like this. All right. Right center it. I'll tell you when to center it.
My ears are crooked.
I'm going to turn around. Is that about from ear to ear? Yeah. Give or take? What's crazy is, if you put this, for the most part, obviously, I tell you what, you keep that, bro. I won't try to stuff it down your pants. Maybe Tracy will. I'm sorry, Tracy. I had to, bro. I had to. But here's the thing, guys. Look, if you do that with anybody, okay, 90% of the time it's right about 5.5 inches. And if you can control the 5.5 inches, and we're going to talk tonight about how to do that, right? But that's really the name of the game. I could talk to them blue in the face about how-tos, but when you're on that, when you have your mojo, that's when you keep stepping on the pedal, all right? So besides the momentum, all right, there's obviously how-tos. Now, this is an acronym that I use to remember the how-tos. Now, again, I'm going to weave the mental stuff in this next 45 minutes or so when I'm talking about some of these how-tos, because a lot of it is mental. But here's an acronym. If you're taking notes, make sure you write this down. I screwed it up. Mr. F's. All right? Mr. F's. Just remember that. That's the name of the game, Mr. F's. He's a master. Mr. F's rocks. I love Mr. F's. You guys like Mr. F's? He's a good neighbor. All right? Now, see, you won't forget this. Okay? You're not going to forget this. So what does Mr. F's mean? Okay? Well, first of all, you got to meet people. All right? You got to meet people. And then you got to build the relationship. Got to build the relationship. And then at some point, you need to expose them to this business. And for the most part, you're going to have to follow up. Okay? And then hopefully, you'll sponsor them. And then you taproot. You guys tracking? That's the name of the game. Don't ever forget that. And you remember Mr. F's. All right? That's how I remember it. I have that on my vision board. I have that right on my desk, Mr. F's, you know? And if people ask me, I'm like, well, it's funny you asked what that is. Have you ever heard a secret? You know, if they're over in the house or whatever. Okay. And so we're going to go through each one of these things, all right? So first of all, you got to meet people. That makes sense, right? Yes. Okay. You can't really do much in this business if you're not meeting people, right? So our list, so basically, when you meet people, you can do warm, well, you have warm market, obviously, right? And you have a cold market. And that's really all there is. Can anybody, I mean, there's cold, there's lukewarm, but that's a cold market person that's becoming a warm market person. Can you guys think of any other human being out there that wouldn't be somebody that you either know or don't know? Right? So it's really, you got a warm market and you got a cold market, okay? So what I want to do tonight, by the way, what I want to accomplish is I just really want to make this simple, fun, and I like to deduce things down to just kind of the basics, right? Because that's how I at least learn, all right? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about warm market, and we're going to discuss how to expose your warm market and recruit your warm market. Because again, warm market is somebody who you've already met, okay? So the first thing you want to do is make a list. Okay. So what I want to do right now is share with you how I make my list. Now every leader really, most of the time, has a little different, idiosyncrasies in how they do their list. But for me, what I do, okay, what I've done is I make a list of everybody I've ever met in my life. Everybody. Now Rico knows this. Kelly, we met last week, right? So let me tell you a little bit about what I used to do and what I do now, okay? What I used to do is I used to just kind of prejudge. When I first got in the industry, I made a list of just, random people that I was thinking of. I wasn't really trying to turn over stones and find everybody. But the reality is, it might be the person that is in your phone book that you could have skipped over and maybe never thought about, maybe see them once every 10 years, that actually is going to be interested in secret and maybe or lead to a six-figure earner in this business. You guys follow me? So don't leave anybody on the table. I used to leave a lot of people out of my list. I used to make a list of who I thought was going to be interested in this type of a business. But the reality is you never know. You just never know. So let me share a story from my previous life and my previous company, right? I'm going to try to share stories too, you guys. Keep you awake, all right? So I actually put my mother on my list. Now come on. Who here would have put their mother on the list? Right? Some people. Right? Yeah, you guys know what the deal is. That's right, Sam. Your mom's, she's awesome. Yeah, she Now, honestly, a lot of people probably left their mom off because they're probably not thinking, right? Now, my first experience in network marketing, I did leave my mom off on the list. I was like, yeah, she's my mom. I'm not going to forget about her. I don't need to write her down. Okay, but what happened was I did just that. I forgot about my mom being interested in an opportunity. So I didn't talk to her for years. And then I put her on my list. And when I put her on my list, you know what happened? She talked to her realtor in Ocean City, recruited one person. In her whole career, she recruited one person. And that person recruited someone who recruited someone. And they ended up having about 4,000 people in the organization. Yeah. Thanks, Mom. Right? But it's because I put her on the list. So the first thing you want to do is when you make a list, get everybody. Pretend that your sponsor or your support team leader is literally over you, watching you like I did last week with you guys. Put that name on, and just put everybody on your list. And that list of yours is your Mona Lisa. Okay, what I mean by that is it's your artwork. It is your gold. It is everything that you have. In fact, that is what we do. That's our profession, is working a list. So it's kind of like, a football to a football player. Running backs in football. Ben was a running back when we played football together, right? They have you hold the ball wherever you go. Through school, and we would try to make him drop it and fumble, which he'd do all the time, but, but you gotta, that football is like, that's, and that's how your list is. Your list, I always have my list pretty much on me, okay? And you're always making your list. When you meet people out and about, put them on the list because that list is your artwork. So the first thing I do is make your list. Now, how do you expose people on the list? I got to go quick. There's a lot of information. I could probably talk for an hour about making a list, okay? So when you do make your list, what you want to do is you're going to have to expose people on that list. Now, we're going to get to the exposure part. We're going to talk about that more with cold marketing, okay? Right now, we're on the M, we're on, making your list and so forth. Exposure, I'm going to go more into with cold marketing, but as far as warm marketing, how you expose somebody on that list, okay, is I do one thing is I make a top 10. I make a top 10 of people who are a combination of open-minded and also sharp. All right, so we all have people on our list that are not so sharp, right? You can think of, don't mention any names, all right? Don't mention any names. But, and we also have people on the list that are like way up here, Donald Trumps of the world, right? Those people who are hard. Well, I don't want me or honestly anybody that I bring into the business to go after either one of those at first. Because number one, we don't necessarily want people who can't tie their own shoes in secret. Right? This is a selective business. We want people to, we want to take everybody, but the reality is for the first people we approach, I want that person, and myself included, when I recruit someone to my, when I'm first getting started, I want to have success. I want to have quality people to work with. All right. And at the same time, on the other spectrum, I would highly recommend not putting the Donald Trumps on your top 10 either, because for new people, right, they're probably new in the business and they're not very good at talking about the business, okay? Now, you're going to have third party. You're probably going to have your sponsor help you with talking to these people. But at the same time, at the end of the day, the most important thing for your recruiting is a relationship you've built with the person, and not necessarily the magic, Michael Jordan, you're going to put on the phone and going to solve all your problems. Your upline. They're going to be good, where that third party is really important. But I like, for my list, in my top 10, to be sharp people, but though people that are close to me, okay? People that are going to, hang around and help me out, and, the 2 a.m. friends that are going to come and pick you up at 2 a.m. when you're out and about. I'm not going to say where you are, but I'm just saying when you're out and about, right? So make that top 10, and then outside of the top 10, when you have your list, I categorize it red, green, blue, all right? Reds are the Donald Trumps, blues are the people that we want to mention, right? And greens are the individuals that are kind of on your level, so to speak. All right, I mean, God all creators equal, but you know what I'm saying? People that are socioeconomically on your level, maybe a coworker, maybe a friend. But you got to be careful because sometimes those greens think they're reds. All right, so you got to be careful. All right, now I expose people on this list, red, green, blue. I make sure that when I approach these individuals, I've always made sure that I know what I'm doing before I approach them. So I literally will take, 30 seconds. And this isn't just me, by the way. This is, all the top leaders, the Bradshaws. Really, a lot of top leaders will tell you the same things, okay? But the best thing to do would be to think about what you're going to say before you pick up that phone. And so, there's two approaches. There's the direct approach and there's an indirect approach. All right, so write that down, direct and indirect. Direct approach is an approach that's kind of more direct. It's exactly how it is, So what I've always done is I've used the direct approach for people, maybe blues and greens. Hey, you should come out, check this out. This is an awesome opportunity. I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to show you. You need this opportunity. Whatever, it's pretty darn direct. And then an indirect approach is an approach that you might say to a red, a Donald Trump, hey, listen, I've always looked up to you, so to speak, stroke their ego, and then get them to evaluate this in their opinion. And it works like a charm. Because you're not coming at them, because remember, they might be thinking, who are you talking to me? Right? Okay. Now, another tidbit on making calls. Okay, raise your hand here if you ever got nervous making calls before. If your hand's not raised, it's probably your first night in secret. You probably just signed up an hour ago.
Only when I
All right.
first started dating.
What?
Only when I first started dating.
Exactly, yeah. There you go. Yeah, we've all done it. We've all been dating, right? It's no different. All right, so you just got to do it. Now here's what's going to help. I believe it's helped me a ton. Okay, is this process when I'm making these calls, no matter whether it's a it's a red, green, blue, whatever it is. Okay. One thing that you might want to do is when you're making these calls, and you pick up the phone. Okay, take a couple breaths. Think about what you're going to do, indirect, direct. All right, and when the person answers the phone, all right, whether you're going to use the opinion approach, the indirect approach, or the direct approach, number one, state your time frame. Write this down. This is so important. I can attribute this right here to at least my own personal, like where I am in my life, right? I did this with you, I think, right? Like, this is so important. Number one, to state your time frame. Hey, look, John. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Look, I only got a couple minutes, all right? But I want to talk, and I'm going to keep going. Let me backtrack. The reason why you do that is because when you state your time frame, then you know that the call's not going to last 30 minutes. They're not going to keep you on the phone asking about how to, what's this all about? You've already stated, only got a couple minutes. The second thing you do is you state your agenda. All right? State your agenda.